Welcome to the show. It's a brand new show. Well, it's the same show, but it's a new episode of the same old show. So it's just like a brand new show. Do 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 do. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the brand new show. It's a brand new show, but it's the same old show. We barbecued her head. What happened to the body? We flushed it down the potty. And there's fun, and penis in my mouth, and penis, so much penis in my mouth. How do you fit so much penis in your mouth, Ewan? It's incredible. People often ask me, Ewan, how can I be such a talented and wonderful, amazing, gifted artist such as yourself? And they also ask me, Ewan, how can I fit so much penis into my mouth, as you clearly do on a regular basis? We know it's not the seasons messing up your sinuses and such. We know it's sucking too much cock that's fucking with it. Fucking up your sinuses by sucking too much penis. I don't even suck the penises. I just hold them in my mouth, gently, lovingly, caringly, because I care. I care about you and penis, and that's about it. Sorry, I forgot I was even recording for a moment there. I was away in my own little world, a world of penis. That's a weird thing, actually, now I think about it. A lot of women make art, not a lot of women, but there are a lot of artists who are women who make art about vaginas and those sorts of things. Or should I say vaginas, etc. Which I fully understand, because, you know, as a woman throughout history, you've been a second-class citizen or less, not even a citizen. You've been property, and even today, a lot of men don't understand how the fuck a woman's body works, and so the urge to speak about that, to talk about, you know, women and women's anatomy and the problems women deal with on a daily basis is perfectly reasonable and understandable. Even at college, there were lots and lots of girl students making art about girl things, about tits and vaginas and all kinds of, you know, all that fun stuff. And men draw penises a lot, so it balances out, doesn't it? It's like, you know. So I don't know. I have no idea where I'm going with this. I'm not trying to say. I'm just saying things. But maybe that's the true human thing, because being connected to your body, especially when your body has been so, demonized and misunderstood over the fucking centuries. That's one thing. But then I guess people just like talking about penises and vaginas. Whatever item you have, it's fun to just sort of bunch of penis, bunch of penis, and a vagina, penis, vagina. I don't know, I had not intended to talk about any of that. I just thought it was funny that I constantly talk about fucking penis just on the brain, innit? On the brain, in the mouth, in the anus. Penis all inside me. That is fucking is pretty much irrelevant. It's a new sketchbook though. Wow. I've only bloody finished the sketchbook, And now it's on to the next one, it's a great time. It's a good fun time. People talk about new relationship energy, which is a thing. I'll grant you that's perfectly a thing. I've experienced new relationship energy. Usually lasts about 3 or 4 months, give or take, and then you get fucking sick of the person and they're around your house and you just look at them at the side of their head while they're fucking chewing or talking about something, and you just think, why are you here? What are you doing? Why the fuck are you here? Get out! Get the fuck out of my house! But new NRE, that's what they call it, new relationship energy. It's a thing. But also, I think new sketchbook energy is a thing. That's a thing, right? Right? That's got to be a thing. New sketchbook energy, because you get the new sketchbook and you just want to fucking plow into it. You just want to fucking get in there, fucking tear it open, shove your head in, and go. Do you want to see? I've actually done quite a lot. Look, I marked it front to make sure I know it's front, because it's a sketchbook, sure, but it's also one of these sketchbooks. Whoa! Radical, dude. Whoa, that's totally fucking babadoo, cowabunga, swiddle gaddle, gobble gobble gobble. That's the sound of me putting so many penises in my mouth. I've done quite a lot in here for already for what it is. My initial original plan was to start a new sketchbook on the podcast. And hey, let's first page. But instead I didn't, because you can all go fuck yourselves. Not really. I love you, all of you, every single bloody one of you. You're all wonderful bloody people. To a pigeon, isn't that cute? Oh. I love a good pigeon. That's a good first page, isn't it? Good page 1 image. I could do something here. I probably will. I'm also, because this one came in a box. That's fucking cool, isn't it? It comes in a box. So I thought I might paint like a face on here, and then like with it like its eyes and mouth and stuff closed, and then on here paint the same face but like wide open, like screaming like oh fucking oh, because then that would be quite cool. Like, oh, it's a face, and then a sketch, something here, something there. Then you open it, pull it out, and then it's screaming, oh fuck, intense. And then it's a pigeon, Burke from the Trapdoor. Do you remember Trapdoor? It's a little stop motion claymation animation motion in from England, from like the late 80s, early 90s, I believe. This little guy Burke, he lives in a castle, and there's this trapdoor, and it's all about the trapdoor, and every episode he opens it and a bunch of shit comes out, and he's always like, shit keeps coming out of this trapdoor. Like, keep opening every episode expecting what? What do you expect, Burke? You Burke. That's actually an insult in England, by the way. If you call someone a Burke, it means fucking idiot. You're a fucking idiot, you Burke. Shut up, Tony, you Burke. Don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Fucking overreacting. Shut up. Don't marry a woman if you're fucking gonna hate your wife, so fucking shut up. You Burke. That's Burke. And that's his pal Drud or something, and some worms and shit. And then, fucking look at this shit. Look at that, it's fucking ridiculous. Look at that, look at this fucking sketchbook already. Can you believe how fucking ridiculously abundantly prolific I am? I've got all this shit in my sketchbook already. But look at that. Someone commissioned me to paint a picture of Trapdoor. I love these. This was so good because someone messages me going, oh, I don't know if you've heard of this old animation called the Trapdoor, but it's a really fun one. I'd love to get like a painting in your style of like something from Trapdoor. And I'm like, oh my god, yes, I fucking love you. Because that's fucking, I loved. It was on Sunday mornings, so I'd like be getting ready for church early in the morning, and I'd have this small amount of time before church where there'd be like various cartoons, Sharky and George, the Crime Busters of the Sea, Trapdoor. Then they'd have like Over the Engine and that kind of stuff, which is cool, but whatever. But Trapdoor was really fucking cool. Had a cool themed song opening. It was really cool. Don't you open that trapdoor, 'cause there's something down there. So fucking cool. So this was literally just a practice piece. I thought it would be neat to spread it across a few pages in this new sketchbook. Just doodled it out, painted it. Like how fucking cool that is. I'm well happy with that. It's just like a sketchbook piece, like a piece of nothing, really. It's fucking whatever. It's just a doodle, a painted doodle in my sketchbook. Preliminary work, if you like. I've got a really good idea for the commission. I'm going to have like Burke looking in the trapdoor, and then behind him there'll be a big gnarly monster. Some of it in the shadow, some of it not. And a little bony bone, or whatever the fuck his name is, his skull pal who talks to him, and he's always like, I don't think you should be doing this, Burke. And Burke's always like, oh, bloody hell, what's going on? Some Japanese broad in a kimono, in various kimonos, I guess. She's a friend of mine. Or something, I don't know. She was, but then she wasn't, and then we were talking again, I don't know. And then someone else did another one, said, hey, do you know the Goliath gang from Necromunda? Could you paint me a commission of that? And I was like, oh my god, I love you, I'm gonna shit my pants. Because, I fucking love Necromunda. I loved Necromunda so much. I played one game, because I never had my own gang. I could only use, like, the ones in the store that were really there just for, like, to teach people the game. Because I don't have enough money to buy, like, a gang. But that's the sort of thing I'd love to... There's Necromunda, and then eventually they made, like, a Warhammer Fantasy-ish version of it called Mordheim, I think, which was, like, you have a little war band, and you're in these, like, medieval-looking villages and stuff. And that nowadays appeals to... Because it used to be I only liked this kind of shit if it had, like, guns and spaceships and stuff. But nowadays I much prefer, like, the fantasy side of it, like Vikings and, Skyrim, that kind of shit. So the idea of having, like, a little Mordheim war band, like witch hunters and fucking Skaven, the rat fuckers, so cool. But Necromunda at the time, because having, like, playing Warhammer 40k with all the huge armies was cool... Sure, and I had an army for a while, but I much preferred having just a tight little warband. And they did invent rules at some point in one of the editions. I think it was called Kill Team, to have like a little Warhammer 40k warband fighting another warband. And it was quite a cool system actually, because it's the same with Necromunda, Mordheim, those sorts of games, and the Kill Team one. As you play, you get like experience points and stuff that you can spend on, or whatever points system they use, that you can spend on new equipment, new gang members, upgrades and stuff. So the more you play, the more you can expand your gang, your warband, which I really, really loved that system. I played Kill Team for a little while with this one kid. It was fucking weird and rich as fuck, those fucking rich kids. But yeah, Necromunda, I loved Necromunda. I loved the idea of Necromunda, the art, the theme, and the overall like vibe of it was really, really cool. So for someone to say, hey, would you paint me the Goliath, Goliath gang member, I was like, yes, fucking on it. Especially because nowadays, it's basically gun Viking, isn't it? It's muscles and guns. That's the Goliath gang. It's muscles and guns. That's what I paint. So for somebody to say, oh, do you think you could paint like a Goliath gang member? It's like, yes I can. I'm gonna fucking die. This is where I'm at the moment. I'm not 100% happy with it. Fucked up the hand, but I can fix that. Put it down a bit, put the knife a bit more upwards. It's like a little rat with a little bolt pistol there underneath him. I thought that was a cool detail. I'll paint over this. I might change a couple of bits. I might redraw it. I'm not sure. I need to change a few bits. I might give him some like face paint, like this kind of face paint. And I'm going to paint him with like, reddish / like tanned skin tones, and then like grey for stubble around his chin and stuff. And nice. It'll be all like orange and beiges in the background, skin tones and red, like darker red and black for his armour. You know, metal parts, whatever. And then there'll be a bright flash of green for his mohawk. That'll be really, really fucking cool. So that I'm excited to work on that. And then someone else said, could you paint me some Sisters of Battle? They want them fighting with some goblins, or like killing some goblins, which is cool. So I've done a couple of rough... Do I have any I could show? Yeah, this is my basic rough outline of what I might do. So there's one sister here with the bolt pistol that she's just fired. So it's like a few times, so there's flash, flash, flash. She fired it with a goblin's feet flying backwards here, and there'll be like some blood or something. And another sister here with both hands on a bolt pistol firing this way. And then some goblins like coming in. And I want to paint them like in sludge water or something, just because I can't be fucked painting like a floor. So I might just paint them in like a swampy, like a purpley turquoise swamp or something. So that's my rough outline. There's a lot to do, obviously. But I've been doing these drawings of just, you know, that's my own one, very similar to sort of that idea with a leg up and all. I actually prefer that one, so I might try to figure that out. Oh, excuse me. Oh, I'm going to die. And then this is based on a fairly like well-known piece of artwork. It's copied-ish, but not super directly with the two guns. That's just a bolt gun, just because. And then Sisters of Battle. That was drawn. I used Google Image for reference. And now this, I remembered I had this amazing fucking book by Jez Goodwin, which has Sisters of Battle, and it's also got some Necromunda stuff in it, some Goliaths, etc. So it seems silly not to do at least some kind of study from it, since I have the bloody thing. So how's that for some fucking new sketchbook energy kind of shit? It's pretty fucking cool, isn't it? Some cool, fun commissions on the docket, on the to-do list, on the drawing board. Some cool pages showing up in my sketchbook. Is it cool pages, or is it one long cool page? I mean, you know, most times I'll look through a sketchbook and I'll be like, that's cool, that's cool, that's a bunch of shit, that's fucking whatever, that's a bunch of shit, that's cool, that's cool. But at the moment, I'm on a roll of like, that's cool, that's, you know, they're just doodles, but they're cool, that's fucking cool, it's fucking, look at the robes and shit, fucking good drawings, really fucking cool, fucking cool, fucking cool. So now I'm scared to make a mistake. Which is sort of just how it goes in general with art, but especially if you're on a roll, if you're having like a bunch of good drawings happen in a row, you're so worried about, and I say like you as in us art folk, because I know you experience it too. You get on a roll, you're like, good drawing, then you've got to be like, or you're like, where's the bad one coming? Like, you don't just get this many good drawings in a row. There has to be something terrible has to happen. It's going to be a god-awful, horrendous drawing come out at some point. Just hurry up, just get it over with. Do you want to look at more Lobo comics? Because I want to look at more Lobo comics, so we're going to look at more Lobo comics. Because I've got this big fucking book and I want to spend more time with it. And I find on a day-to-day basis, there is time where I could sit down and look at some art books, but every time, comics, whatever, every time I do, I feel like, I should be working on this, I should be working on that, I've got this to do, that to do, I should clean my fucking home, which, you know, for what? As if I'm going to have guests, come on. Have you met me? I don't have guests, Jesus. Oh shit, like I ripped it. Aren't I bloody amazing? Aren't I brilliant? Aren't I a bloody wizard? Oh, grand me, ripping my shit like it's nothing. What a fucking idiot. I should just... Lobocop. We've looked at this one before because I happen to have the individual issue, which is nice. But there's this one, drawn by Martin Emmond, R.I.P. And there's another Martin Emmondley drawn comic in here, which I have marked with a little clitoris of post-it note. So I'm going to look at this one again, and then look at the other one by Martin Emmond, and because I like his art. It's quite Bisley-esque, especially in Lobo terms. This is quite cool. I was going to say Todd McFarlane took it from Spawn, but then Todd McFarlane did it in Spawn, but then he obviously, not necessarily obviously. It was also in the Dark Knight, whatever book, the Frank Miller, that it was in there as a. It's quite a neat little gimmick, isn't it? The TV screens with a bunch of shit, whatever. So yeah, it's his. I think there's a lot about his art that's like Bisley-esque. It's quite wild, quite jaggedy. He doesn't seem to be following necessarily the rules of perspective, which I like and admire. If you do follow the rules of perspective, that's totally fine. You know, whatever works for you, la-di-da-di-da-di-do. But I like it when it's just drawings. That's what I like seeing people who have just drawn shit, not where they've really taken their time to figure out how to make the drawing. I like it when they've just drawn it. You do get some really good art when people have figured out how to draw it. They put in the effort to like measure shit out and work out perspective and stuff. It can be really, 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 really good. But there's an energy and a life in the stuff that's just put onto the page, just drawn, just gotten it done. As long as it's drawn well, because if it's drawn like shit, then it's just going to look like a pile of shit, innit? Love a good pile of bodies, especially if it's police. They're all bastards, every last one of them. You can't tell me different. Well, you can, but you're wrong. That's cool, this fucking dragster with these fuckers in it, with the bazookas and such. Cool. And then, I mean, come on. Every time I've looked at this comic, I've pointed this out and gone, fucking look at that. Also, I did see one thing which is really cool. I like these. The little bunch of little rats under the floorboards. And there's a little Lobo rat. He's got like the makeup or the fucking whatever eyeshadow stuff he has on. I don't know if he's got it on or if it's his skin or whatever, but a little jacket and everything. He's a little Lobo rat and other rats also. The original art, if you had the original art of that in black and white, there's a lot of original art in comics that would just be lines because they sort of leave it up to the colorist to fill it in. But it's when you get the really good stuff. That's why a lot of the stuff I happen to like, I think part of the reason I like the art of it is because it's similar to this in that the artist puts in the shadow, the inking and stuff. Nick Klein, James Harron, the guy who did Murder Falcon, Daniel Warren Joranson. Yeah, they really they make the art fucking good, and then the colorist adds to it rather than doing the art quickly. The colorist does whatever they can with it, and then you sell it as a comic. So the original art for this you're going to have a really, really good balance of black and white, because that's the last thing you want is to, well, not necessarily the last thing, but if you buy an original piece of comic book artwork and it's just some thin lines on a page with a lot of white space, like you need the meat of a piece of art, which is in this case like the black that sort of gives it that solidity, that weight, that body. And this is a really good example of that. If that's like a single drawing that you have on your wall, framed or whatever, it's got I'm spitting. It's got a good balance of black and white, some heavy areas, some lighter detailed areas. on a black, on a sorry, blank, a blank white background without the colour. And then, but it does have some weight with the shadow on the ground, so that's something. But if it had a little bit of like a grey fade or something, that would be cool. But I'm not like bad mouthing it for that whatsoever. God, I've got hiccups now. What the fuck is happening? I like the continued use of these screens, like rather than just use them at the front, to then use them again to continue telling the story. That's pretty smart. I like that. I like this. There's that scene there as well of the sort of like harsh black and white of him blowing the fuck out of these people. Bum, 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 with the harsh sort of light hitting him, the shadows, the black on the white and everything. And then here, similarly, it looks like it's from a top-down view, like an old school GTA or Hotline Miami. That's like a cool fucking game, isn't it? I've got the theme tune to that in my head now. But yeah, just blasting motherfuckers from the white centre going outwards. Then we'll get them wasted like the bunch of fucks they are. Then he gets buried in concrete. I like this as well. It's like the Terminator with the thumb and the. There's a bit in Spaced where it references that. I cried like a baby at the end of Terminator with the thumb and the like that, but it's giving a finger instead. That's funny. I like that. And then he flexes, cracks the concrete, bursts out. That's really fucking cool. That's a killer fucking drawing. I really, really like that. And the text in the concrete, crack. That's good shit, man. And then the real Lobo shows up and destroys Lobo Cop. And then finishing it off with the telly screens and Lobo showing up. That's really smart. That's a really good, fun comic. Like, it's a fun story, I guess. I'm sure if I read it, I'd enjoy it. Maybe I'd think it was shit. But it's a good, fun comic to read through visually, to look at the pictures of. You can be pretty certain that that's a photocopy, can't you? It's pretty unlikely that it's drawn 5 times in a row. That'd be a bit much to draw that 5 times in a row, wouldn't it? Come on. The thing is, back in the day, like when I was at school and stuff drawing comics, I'd be like, I guess I've got to draw it 5 times because I just didn't have access to like computers or photocopiers or whatever. But nowadays, I almost certainly would like just fucking copy paste it. Unless I didn't give a shit, in which case, because I might be in the mood where I'm like, fuck it, I'll just draw it and it will look shit in each panel, but it doesn't matter because it's just a quick. As long as you get the idea of what's happening, that's what counts. And then there's another one. Lobo in the chair, and he's like in the electric chair. But it says barber. He's in like a barber's chair, getting electrocuted like a bastich. I used the Lobo word in talking about Lobo. I think I said before when looking through this, there's a page later on similar to this, and I thought it was digitally coloured, and I spoke ill of it because of that. I was like, oh, fucking digital colouring in this goddamn bunch of shit. And I think whilst looking at it, I realised, oh no, actually, I think it is painted with like airbrush and probably acrylics and stuff, which makes it good. Which is a weird, my brain just goes, oh, if it's digital, it's shit. But if it's hand painted, it's good, even if the picture looks exactly the same. I'm biased, obviously, very heavily biased towards traditionally painted media. That's a really, really cool scene. I love the cart of bodies with like arrows and knives and stuff in them, pickaxes in this one, bullet holes, a tit there, some teeth, Lobo dragging it along. The weight in Lobo here is really, really fucking good. You've got his arm going back with the chain on his wrist, pulling the thing, and him leaning forward with this leg backwards and this leg like forward and then dug into the dirt. Very heavily shadowed, like maybe 60-70% in shadow here. Most of the shadow being on his lower half. Again, literally weighing him down into the dirt as he's pulling this wagon along. It's a really, really nice little storytelling piece right there. As is that. How's that for a fucking Lobo? I love how scraggly he is. He's surrounded by flies. He probably smells. He's got all his scraggly hairs all over him, and his chest hair and everything, just making him look like rough and rugged and horrible, nasty and gnarly. That's what we like to see. This is almost quite Frank Miller-ish with his use of maybe, I don't know if he has, but it looks like he's used probably just like a Sharpie or something just to sort of quickly get in these bits of shadows, and then some finer pens for some hatching and stuff. But yeah, like no outline on the lightest edge as he's shooting, I don't know, this sheriff or whoever he's shooting. The harsh light cascading across his body is really, really good. And then it's almost like a Sunday Sunday newspaper funny comic strip with him stomping along and this old woman crossing his path, and he just fucking stomps right across her, pounding her into the ground. Not in that way, don't be disgusting, come on now. Same to you, ma'am, have a nice day now. It's pretty funny. Into the barber shop. It's quite funny. Waiting time 15 minutes. Please have a seat. So he sits down reading a magazine. Yawns. Come on, what's the fragging delay here? Please don't shout. I have sensitive ears. He grabs her ears, fucking pulls them to the sides, sticks gel in their head, squeezes it out through their skull. Then as the sheriff and whoever are picking up the old woman he stomped on, he tosses this person, woman, guy, I don't know, this person out of the barber straight into the old bitch. Alright, Clyde, give me the works. Gets a shave. But the shaver's the barber's razor can't take it. Decimated. Lobo goes, here, use this. Pull out his fucking combat knife. That's pretty funny. The guy sings, Lobo falls asleep. Johnny, he's asleep, the bastard's fallen asleep. I think, oh yeah, so there's these two guys also in the barber, and Lobo happens to have killed all their friends. So they're getting their own back. On a sleeping Lobo. Oh, that's cool. I guess he's dreaming. Oh, so they tie Lobo to the barber chair. The barber chair from the cover of the piece. They tie him with electrical cord. But why electric cord? Taking no chances, bro. Lobo's one tough dude. So if he wakes up, we fry him with electrical cord, because that's how that works. Yeah, so he's sleeping, dreaming about just being surrounded with women with a cigar, alcohol, and just tits and asses as far as the eye can see. That's really fun. And then they give him haircuts. That's actually pretty badass. Lobo with a mohawk. And then like an Elvis cut. But he's not waking up until he wakes up. That's cool as well. He's there. They're fucking with him, doing what they're doing. And he's still asleep, and everyone's like... And then the one eye opens, and he looks in the mirror, sees himself, and gets mad, and everyone's like, ah, shit! The drawings overall in this, they're all right, and I like how it looks like this comic was drawn pretty quickly. Like, it doesn't feel too laboured or anything. But I'm not in love with the artwork as much as I have been in previous comics. There are good panels. There are some really good panels. There's a lot of vacant space in the backgrounds as well, which, you know, I do sometimes as well. It's sort of, it can be difficult to avoid because you don't want to fill it with details and crowd everything, but there is a lot of like these scenes where it feels like they're almost in just some giant warehouse, some endless like airplane hangar or something with a chair in the middle of it, because there's like no details. You know he's in a little barber on the side of a road, but you need I don't know, just a little something, just a little something. So he wakes up, he's mad. They hit the power switch on the electrical cord, and he gets fucking fracked. And this is where I thought this was digital, but no, I'm pretty sure it is done with like acrylics and airbrush and stuff. And it's fun. It's really. It's also. I really love, like, again talking about if you owned the original art. If you owned this, the front cover and this page, that would make like a really nice little like double piece to hang up next to each other. I like the knee pads, like they're sort of inverted from one another. The hands are cool. They're like hands, the chain and everything. The spiky electrified hair. It's a cool painting. It's a cool it's a cool painting now that I know it's traditionally painted. If it was digital, it'd be whack. It'd be fucking whatever. Who gives a shit? And it is cool to go from that like black and white ink style into this painted image, and then back into the black and white ink style. It gives a nice sort of like, this is an event, like, and then back into like normality as they're trying to fry him to death. Well, that's really fucking cool. He gets up and bursts out of his bindings, tears it all apart. Good use of space as well, like making it go diagonal. I don't know if that would come to me naturally to do that. I think I'd have it like more or less the right way up and just have his arms going like off camera. I don't know how effective that would be though. And again, the use of space, it's like, you know. So this is where they are, just like a little saloon barber shop in the middle of nowhere or whatever. This little wooden hut, a couple of windows and a door, whatever. And then inside it's like this. It doesn't. It's a comic. It doesn't have to follow all the rules, perspective and this and that and whatever. But I feel like if I was drawing this, I'd be too worried about like not having this wide open space within this tiny little building. I don't know. Maybe it's just the time. It's just, comics weren't so serious. And maybe that's it. It doesn't need to be so serious. It can just be a fun, silly little comic. Just Lobo. It's Lobo going into a barbershop, getting tied to a chair and electrocuted, and then ripping out of the electrocution, and then grabbing these two guys' arms as they pull guns on him, and then he points them at each other and makes them shoot each other in the gut. And that's quite cool. Blood from the eyes and nose and stuff blasting out their backs. Blam, blam. The text could be a little bit more hands drawn. Like this blam, blam is perfect as they're shooting into the air as he's moving their arms up. The drawing of the text is perfect right there. But then here, having it just be blam, blam is a little bit like static for me personally. Like, I don't know if it would improve it, but I think my natural reaction would be to like have a blam and then another blam sort of overlaying it, so they're happening virtually at the same time, and then more hand drawn with a little bit of curve to it, a bit of jaggedness to them. But this is a 1990s comic, like 30 something years old probably. I'm not trying to go back and improve. These are just details, things I notice as I'm looking at it. That's a cool little shot, a good body movement there. Him grabbing this body and then swinging it, decimating the building. And then he leaves. Oh, and his hair's still spiked up from the electricity. He puts a hat right on the top of it. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun. I like this little people, tiny little doodles of people-shaped objects, rather than actual like people. I like that. That's good. I mean, that's fucking badass. But it is a good, fun 90s comic. It's silly. It's absurd. It's just a funny little story. It's fun Lobo, fun drawings, fun. It's all very fun. I had some good times in Games Workshop, man. There was some good years there for a good amount of years. There was some good years, some good times in Games Workshop, which I think they're just called Warhammer stores now, which makes so much sense because even back in the day, I thought like they call themselves Games Workshop, but basically all of their games are Warhammer, and so many times I'd be in there just hanging out, painting, playing games or whatever, and people would come in, usually parents would come in being like, oh, do you have like PlayStation and stuff, like asking about video games and things, and then the staff would have to, you know, explain, oh no, it's not that kind of like a game store, it's a very specific gaming store, specific products of specific games, it's just called Games Workshop. And that's totally reasonable, you know, as a parent or as anyone else. If you don't know that Games Workshop is specifically like Warhammer, etc., then yeah, it'd be perfectly fair to think it's games, you know, et al. Or whatever the fuck. So you can't, you know, be mad at that or whatevs. Whatever the fuck it is I'm talking about. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so I think it sort of makes sense that I think of recent, they've changed the name of Games Workshop, the stores, to just Warhammer. So you look at the sign, it says Warhammer, you know straight away, oh, they sell Warhammer. That gay, geeky, nerd shit that where fucking nerds play, like a bunch of fucking nerds. But it makes sense from like a marketing standpoint, and that's one of the issues for me, is that makes sense that they changed their name, but a lot of what they have, you know, do lately, it's very marketing based. It feels marketing based. It doesn't feel like they're doing shit for the love of the hobby or whatever, which, yeah, it's a business and they have to make money, and that's fine. And that actually, I had some stuff planned to talk about, and that sort of does feed into it a little bit. But I could talk about the good times at least for a little bit. I think whenever Gorka Morka was out, for me, that was like the absolute tip-top best times I'd ever had in Games Workshop. Because they, you know, Gorka Morka is like Mad Max-ish, desert wasteland, orc war bands. Again, small war bands of like orcs. And there were grots, which are like the goblins and, you know, mutants and whatever else. Yeah, I love that shit. Desert wasteland orcs, buggies and cars, shit, shootouts, fucking whatever. And then they'd have games set up where they'd set up the boards to be like as long as possible of these desert textured, you know, desert terrain boards for the battlegrounds or whatever they call them. And then they'd have stuff, mountains and hills and stuff piled in the middle with like a track around it. So if this was an average, what do they call them? Battle boards, battlefield. An average battlefield is square. Then they'd have extra long battlefields, which would be 2 squares. But then the tables in the middle of the store, I think, could facilitate 3 or 4. So let's say it's 3. So they'd have the 3 battlefields, all like desert sand texture, a bunch of hills and shit in the middle, rocks, hills, fortresses, just whatever terrain they've got, shove it in the middle. And then around the outside, they'd have buggy races, Gorka Morka buggy races, where everyone has their own buggy with a little orc warband on it, and this buggy with wheels and orcs on the back of the buggy. Because the buggies were like, you have the front wheels like this, and a driver's seat with a guy in the driver's seat. Hello, I'm in the driver's seat. And you'd have like spikes and shit on the front, and then the back was like a truck almost, with just carrying space, where you just pile in as many orcs as you possibly can. And the rule was, I think the official rule in the books was, as long as the bases of the models were on the truck, it was fine. But then the in-house rule in the store, the one I went to at least, was as long as the orc boys are on the back of the truck and they don't fall off, it's fine. So you could literally pile them up. But if any of them fell off, they take damage, they lose a life, they lose wounds, whatever. And those were really, really fucking fun, good times. Because you'd have the races, so you'd move however many inches you could move, shoot other buggies, there'd be obstacles, explosive barrels and oil slicks in the way, and you'd have to get around and do like as many laps as possible, and then, you know, come first with other, you know, buggies trying to blow you up and whatever else, all the way around. And then they'd give out prizes to the winners, like you'd win like a free model or a bag of like terrain or whatever. It was really, really fun, good times. And you'd have like 20, 30 people around the tables all trying to play, all like cheering and yelling as people are, you know, because there'd be a pivotal moment where like 2 people have been battling it out all the way around with other races going at the same time. And then someone would like keep rolling and rolling and rolling and like be getting high numbers. And then everything would come down to 1 dice roll, and everyone around the table would be so tense. They'd be like, oh my God, it's this 1 roll. It's all down to this 1 roll. And the person would roll the dice and they'd get like the number they needed, and the whole place would just be like, yes, fucking yes. Like it's a sport, but you know, nerdier and with more orcs. Yeah, it was the best time. It was so much fun. And I think around that time there was this manager called Mike, who was like, he was just on it. He was obviously a fan of the games, and he was into, you know, the hobby. And he ran the store perfectly well, but he ran it well from like a hobby perspective, to the point that, this is how I believe it went, he got called to go to Australia to like teach people there how to be a good fun manager rather than just a shit manager or whatever. And that's with limited knowledge. I believe that's what happened. I could be wrong. I could be misremembering or just talking out my fucking arsehole. But it was basically that, I think. The irony is that I don't know if it was the next manager, but certainly one of the next managers of the store I went to was the absolute polar opposite of Mike. I think it was a guy called Rob, who his whole thing was, sure, it's a hobby, it's games, it's fun, and you have nights for gaming clubs and stuff at the store, but outside of that, it's a business, it's a place of business, and the purpose of a place of business is to make money. So if you're not there spending money and it's not a gaming night or whatever, then you have no reason to be there. Which is just, it's such a load of shit, you know. and everyone hated him as well. I'm sure he was fine. He had his good moments, I guess. But like anytime he was in, people would be like, "Oh, is Rob in?" And people would be like, "Yeah," and everyone would be like, "Fucking great." And he's the manager. His job is not to have fun. His job is to run the shop as a business. So I get that. I'm not trying to, tell him how to do his job. But he was just a bad prick. I went in once because my friend Adam worked at the store, and now he's like a big guy in the Games Workshop, like head office and everything. So he's done great. He's like living a dream life, really, in terms of doing his job. He worked there at the time, and I went in to see him because he said, "Oh, I've got something for you. Come into the shop." And he gave me it was a deck of cards of like there was a Warhammer 40k like trading card game. I think they were trying to have like their Magic the Gathering. It wasn't great, and I don't know if it ever caught on, but there's some good cards, some like fun artwork and stuff, and it was cool to like play a couple of games here and there. But yeah, so my friend Adam had I think it was like my birthday or something, he got me a deck of these cards. So I was like, oh sweet. So I was at the store, sat down at the painting table. It was quiet. Adam was there painting models for the store. Rob, the manager, was there, I think, also painting models for the store. And there was maybe a couple of other people in, like playing a game or something. So I was sat there looking at the cards. Literally minutes after Adam had got me them as a gift, I was like looking through, going, "Oh, cool! There's Chaos Space Marines," which was like my jam. So I was like, "Brilliant! This is cool." And after a couple of minutes, the manager Rob turns to me and he goes, "Is that what you're going to do?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Are you just sitting looking at some cards? Is that it? Yeah?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Okay, cool. Can you get out then?" He literally said that. He goes, "Oh, can you get out then?" And I was like, yeah, because I didn't have anything to say to that. Like, no, I'm going to look at these cards that were gifted me by a member of the staff here. Like, I don't have any argument. That's gonna, I'm gonna tell the manager of this store, no, I won't leave your store. Like, yeah. And then Adam sort of looked at me, gave me a look to say like, shit, sorry, like a knowing look of like, yeah, he's an asshole. There's nothing I can do about it. I apologise. Like, he gave me that kind of look. And I was just like, well, guess I'll be off then. Nice to know you're so welcoming to the people that frequent this store. What a bloody great guy. What a stand-up fucking guy. And it was any time he was in, people were like, oh, Rob's in, cool. Because it really did feel like, even if you were just there to play games, to like try and enjoy yourself and enjoy the hobby you invest so much time and money into, even if you were there, playing the games, if Rob was in, it would really feel like your boss was there. Like, that's never a fun time. Oh, hey, let's hang out and have a good time. Oh, here's my boss. Brilliant. Or like when your manager is in the break room with you. I've always fucking hated that that's a thing. That like managers will hang out in the break room with members of staff eating their lunch and stuff. And it's like, fuck off. Let us have one space where we don't have to sit with the managers. This is fucking horrible. And yeah, so that guy was a prick. But that was just, I think that's, it's got to be difficult for something like Games Workshop. Because it's a hobby, it's games, it's all fun and games. But at the end of the day, they are a business. They have to make money to be able to keep the store open so that they can, have somewhere for people to play the games. So, yeah, I get it, but, And I think in more recent years, they've really, they get more and more expensive every year, and it becomes more and more about, the product rather than the hobby. Not that I've really spent much time there lately, so I could be, again, talking out my arsehole. I don't really know what I'm saying, I'm just saying words. But I know, for instance, the trade magazine White Dwarf, which was like the hobby magazine, which would have new releases. It would have articles about, you know, the games and what's coming out, and art, little stories, little fun creative things, battle reports, stuff about the staff that work at, like, in the shops and the head office and stuff. There was a lot to like love about the magazines. I follow an Instagram account that posts loads of old shit, like pictures and scans from the magazines and stuff, and so it's really, really interesting to see like the nostalgia and everything of it all. But one big thing for me was back in the day, part of the fun of the hobby was like building the battlefield, like making terrain yourself out of like cardboard boxes and other stuff, like all kinds of materials. I remember one really, really cool battlefield they had in the store I went to, the Winchester store. We actually got to see it first because my oldest brother managed to, because, you know, we were sort of like friendly with the staff there. My oldest brother said, can I have a birthday here, like after closing hours for, you know, a sort of an hour or two? And they said, yeah, that's fine. You know, you and sort of a few people can come in, play some games after hours. A staff member will stay late. And yeah, fucking cool birthday bash at Games Workshop. And it was really cool of them to do that. I don't think in later years they would do that kind of thing. Or maybe if you were really tight with them, they would. But again, I don't know. I say so much shit without actually having any information. But then they had this new battlefield they were working on, which was like an industrial toxic waste plant or something, and they had these like wooden packaging things that were like sort of this, where it'd be like 4 bits of wood with a gap in the middle where something would have been stored in it. They might have been wood or card or something, but they were pretty solid, and they painted them, covered them with like polyfiller or something to like reinforce it. And then in these pools, these like gaps in the middle, they poured PVA glue mixed with like toxic green and yellow coloured paint, and then let it set, and it would get like little bubbles in it, and it would look like gummy, gooey, toxic waste. And so they had a few of those, and with some like tubes and pipes and stuff, and it was like this industrial like sewage treatment plant or something. And we were the first ones to see it after they'd made it, because they brought it out for my brother's birthday party thing that he had at the store. So that was really, really cool. And that's all to say, that was a big part of the hobby, was like making it your own, you know, making your own terrain and whatever else. Even to the point where in the magazines, they'd have dedicated articles about like, here's how to build a river section. Like you build one section of river with like some river banks and stuff and some grass and things on it with water in the middle here. Again, using that like PVA glue trick. So it taught you how to build like one section of river. This is the water. And then you could build those, like loads of them, and connect them all together in different shapes and stuff. And you could have all these different... what's the word? I don't know. Modular. A modular river that you can sort of chop and change across the battlefield as you saw fit. And it gave you like instructions on how best to make it out of like card and polyfiller and flock and paint and glue and wire for some grass and stuff. Really, really cool stuff that they used to have in the magazines. But now, because it's a product, all of their terrain it's pre-made plastic or like resin kits that you can buy. And so the magazines say, hey, look at this new piece of terrain you can buy. And if you go into the store, it used to be the case that every store you go to has their own terrain because they've all made it themselves, because all the staff are like into the hobby. They all do it for fun. And so they're all like into making terrain and stuff. So yeah, every store you went to would be like completely different sets of terrain and battlefields and stuff, which is really, really cool. But now any store you go to, it's all the same like pre-made plastic molded terrain and everything. I'm sure they paint it differently, they can style it differently, but ultimately it's all the same. It's just the sort of the love and the craft is taken out of it, because it's like, well, you know, why bother making some stuff when you could just buy it from us? And like, because that's the part of the fun, you know. It's a bunch of bullshit. That's what it is. A bunch of fucking bullshit. Also, I've probably mentioned this before, but Games Workshop was the first time, or being in a Games Workshop was, I remember being the first time I decided I wanted to get a vasectomy. Because there was, again, the same friend that worked there, Adam, he was talking to an older customer, gamer, nerd or whatever, they were just telling it, they were friends, so they were just talking, shooting the shit or whatever, and this customer was talking about his family and stuff, and he mentioned about having a vasectomy, and my friend Adam was obviously interested. He was like, oh, well, tell me about that. And as he was telling him about it, in quite a funny way actually, I was listening because I was just sat there painting my little models, and I remember hearing him talk about getting a vasectomy. And, that means you don't have kids anymore. And I was maybe 12 or 13. And I was thinking even then, like, that's such a good idea. Like, that's so smart. Why isn't that just the thing people do? Like, that makes so much sense to me, to get a vasectomy. Like, of course you get a vasectomy. Why would you want to have fucking kids? The worst idea ever. Get a vasectomy. So I still think back to that time as being kind of pivotal in a way of making me realise, like, yeah, that's good. And I remember the guy telling my friend of how he had to be a bit careful because he'd only just had his vasectomy done, and I guess this was 20 years ago or more. So I guess things have developed in terms of how they do vasectomies. But he was saying how he has to be careful when he lays down in bed because he sleeps naked. And if his junk, if he lays down and it all like flops back onto him, then it can open up the stitches. So he has to be quite careful with that, which I thought was quite funny at the time. And I was a little bit worried about that when I, was looking into getting my vasectomy, because I have had one, if you're unaware. And now it's like the incision is so small, and they don't. I didn't even get stitches. They just like glue it shut, and then that heals up really, really quick. And even a little while ago, I was looking for the scar. I couldn't even find it because it's a bag of wrinkles, so it's hard to find this tiny little scar. But yeah, I mean, even in realistic terms, the incision was probably no bigger than that, and that might even be bigger than it actually was. A tiny, tiny little incision, and they just glued it shut, and it was nice and easy. So, yeah, I thought that was a really funny thing to hear about a vasectomy, and then, like I say, I was a little bit worried about it, but I didn't have to worry about it. And that's just some of the fun we had at Games Workshop back in the day. They were good times, good times. And now I still I love aspects of the hobby. I like probably more in terms of art and stuff nowadays. And I did go in a little while ago because I got that Death Guard book, the Nurgle Chaos Space Marine book. And yeah, just the vibe in the shop felt different to how it used to. And a lot of that is probably just I'm older and I view things differently, but yeah, it just doesn't feel like the fun kind of place it used to. But I don't know. Fun to draw though, isn't it? Look at that. I'm taking inspiration from this guy here, but trying to make him a bit bigger and bulkier and shit. And have some really fucking cool sketchbook pages. Look at that. Even that is just fucking cool as far as sketchbooks go. I might put a lot of deep dark ink on her legs and then fade it up to her body to have a bit less black. And that would be quite cool. Put in some more detail and stuff on him. Sort the gun out. That could do with a bit of work, couldn't it? But fucking